one slip of the finger can end in disaster, as Nathan knows.
I lost them in a machine about 1996, farm accident. With a national herd of over 26 million cattle, Australia is the second largest exporter of beef on the planet. To get this much meat to market, the Aussie cowboys do everything on an epic scale. It's a brutally effective process. The station is a living production line, punctuated by ruthless rituals during which the calves are separated from their mothers. Yeah, mark here, that identifies the beast for this property. That there's an age mark. So just a number tag, so it says it's branded this year.
The smell of burnt flesh and cries of distress fill the air. But for the young bulls, there's worse to come.
Any male calves that come through, they'll get castrated. It's not a very pleasant task for them, but it's got to be done.
Finally, Bobby arrives to give his niece Sophie some urgently needed help, managing the bigger, more dangerous cows.
You do get a bit worried, but you have to have confidence in her. You have to be aware that you can get hit if you're not paying attention. The pleasure I get nowadays is watching the young people perform.
Dehorned and finally market ready, the beasts are prepared for the next stage of production, a one-way trip out of the desert. The road train rumbles in. Weighing almost 200 tons, these ships of the desert are the monsters of the open road. They are the largest trucks in the world, and the only way to get the cattle to market on time. The clock is ticking. The cowboys know the impending rains will turn the desert tracks to mud. They must get the cattle out before the first raindrops fall. Working together, Bobby and Sophie try to direct the beasts up the ramp and onto the wagons. But after several hours of being pushed around in the heat, the cattle are distressed and confused.
When things go wrong, like, I don't know, it's just time-consuming, really. It's annoying. One beast can take up a lot of time if it doesn't want to go on the truck.
A piece of tubing and a plastic bag is all that's needed to coax the cattle to move.
It's hard now only because they're being stubborn and they won't go up on the race, so it makes it harder. The best thing about today is when it's over, finished.
Some animals prove more difficult than others. It's back-breaking work, but with guidance from the more experienced cattlemen, Sophie eventually empties the stockyard. At last, the road train gets on its way. They've beaten the rain. With the roads now closed, there's only one way to traverse the desert. And it takes a special kind of person to do it. Pilot Tay Shepherd has a long day ahead. A former champion surfer, a few years ago she left her life on the coast to live in the bush.
I never thought I'd find myself in the desert out here. particularly because the whole of my life I've been living basically alongside the beach. So I didn't expect that I'd be living and working in the desert and actually really enjoying it.
In this remote region, desert-based aeroplanes are so much more than a way of getting from one township to the next.
I think aeroplanes are definitely the new camels of the desert nowadays. We use them for everything out here now.
In the airport departure lounge come gift shop, old pictures on the walls are testament to the Victorian pioneers who arrived here by horse, camel and rail. But these days, bush aeroplanes have conquered the tyranny of distance, providing a lifeline to the most isolated homesteads, no matter how harsh the elements.
A lot of places you put your address and people just laugh at you and they go, well, where is that? So you have to explain to them. We don't even have a postcode here, so, so it makes it hard to even explain to them.
Tay makes a living from a mixture of scenic flights, mustering cattle, and community services. In these remote parts, the mail is usually delivered once weekly by road. But with rain on the horizon, Tay is lending a hand.
It means a lot for us to be able to do this for the community because, you know, everyone really supports us in kind of everything we do, and it's good to be able to see the smiles on their face when they actually get their mail, when they think that they're not going to be able to get it because the roads are closed. So, yeah, it's good to be able to help out.
We'll be conducting a left-hand turn, climbing 1,500 and tracking westbound Anna Creek Station to Queen Creek. We fly over a pretty arid and desolate landscape out here. There's, you know, not much vegetation around. It's quite barren, and for that reason there's not many landmarks to go on really, as well as far as navigation is concerned. It's beautiful in its own right as well.
One of the great perks of being a desert pilot is the view from the cockpit. Today on the mail run to Anna Creek Station, Tay is flying over one of the most spectacular vistas in the desert. This is Lake Eyre. In the heart of the Outback, in an area where it hardly ever rains, it's the largest lake in Australia. Lying 15 meters below sea level, Lake Eyre is the lowest point on the continent. This saltwater expanse is formed by rains flowing from all over the desert into the largest drainage basin in the world. It's an incredibly rare spectacle. In the desert climate, most of the rain that falls evaporates before it reaches the lake. In the last 150 years, Lake Eyre has only been full 3 times. Finally, Tay has Anna Creek Farm within her sights.
It's a bit different landing on, you know, dirt runways compared to the bitumen that we've got back at our main base. Sometimes, you know, particularly when it's really windy, you can be slipping and sliding around the place. You've also got to be aware of, you know, the rocks and things like that your propeller will be picking up, and the dust that you're blowing over, you know, over them on takeoff and landing as well. So, yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's a challenge that, you know, we all get used to and we enjoy out here.
Anna Creek traffic, Whiskey Alpha Yankees backtracking runway 18, Anna Creek.
As well as delivering the mail, Tay also collects parcels to go. In the past, she's even flown out dead bodies for burial. For bush pilots, it's all part of the service.
definitely a privilege to be able to go to and from each property and being able to go from one town to the next and say good day to everyone. Everyone else is so remote, and you know, their only means of keeping in contact with people are, you know, over the phone or by email or something like that. So for us to be able to fly in and drop in for a cup of coffee, you know, sometimes brightens their day as well.
What else have you guys been up to?
Remote.
Remote.
Tay knows almost everyone within the 500-kilometre radius that she flies.
You meet people once out here and you'll remember them forever. Everyone ends up becoming great friends, great mates out here, because they become your extended family as well. I have fallen in love with the desert out here, and I didn't think I would. I thought it might just be you know, a good experience for a short time, but it's consumed my life a little bit.
They are digging for atomic energy, these men and machines, at a uranium mine known as Rum Jungle in North Australia. The shovels can take 7 tons at a mouthful.
Mining has always attracted people to the Australian desert. The prospect of making a fortune by digging the dirt triggered the Australian gold rush of the 1850s. But soon people discovered that the red sand held other precious deposits too. Mining the Outback is now a massive moneymaker. Coal, iron ore, lead and uranium can all be found here in relative abundance. Today, Australia is one of the largest mineral exporters in the world.